So today, or at least tomorrow, at least, the renters reform bill is going to go into Parliament, start its first readings. And to be honest, there is a lot of stuff in there that is, I think, very, very much overdue. We'll get into that in a bit later about some of the big things that are in there. We'll get into some of the criticisms that the renters coalition, I believe it is, that have against it. Again, I think that is very valid. But the big thing about all this is this is a step forward. And I think the Conservatives knew it. That when we saw this originally try to be passed by the Conservatives, because remember, they had this very much watered down version in their in their manifesto, which every single time they tried to bring it to a vote, they then pulled it back. They didn't do it. And then, of course, right at the very tail end of their time in power, Michael Gove tried to get this passed because he could see that if he did not pass this, Labour had a much stronger version, which we are now seeing is going to pass. And of course, what happened? He failed. He did not get it anywhere near, and now we've got Labour's a lot more stronger version going in. Now, could this be stronger? Absolutely. Absolutely. I think there is a couple of areas where this could absolutely be stronger. Like I say, we'll get into talking that in a bit as well. But don't forget, when you have a win like this is well worth celebrating. And then you can think, right, where do we go from here? We've had these victories. Now where we can go from here, what more we can advance. And again, we'll be talking about that in a bit as well. But before we do get into talking about this as well, please do remember to click on the like, share, and subscribe button. And of course, down below, there's the Patreon page, there's the Buy Me Coffee link, there's the YouTube thank you button, and of course, there is the Pony Club down below as well. So before we begin, I want to talk to you about what I found, to me, really the most shocking story about renting. And believe it or not, this actually comes from Scotland. So I've got a friend in Scotland, and they always said whenever they went for a viewing, after that viewing, they would always make sure that they had their running shoes, because they always had to make sure that they then had to sprint down to the local estate agent to make sure that they were the first in to get their bids in first. Now, of course, technically this bill only covers England, not Scotland, but I just think it's well worth bringing up that story, because I can guarantee you there's a lot of people in London, big cities here in England, who feel the same way, that you have these big, again, multiple viewings of where everyone is like told at these different slots to come for like this viewing, and then everyone is sort of paraded in. You know, everyone sees them going in, and they see like the couple others next up going out, etc. And then what happens is everyone at a set time gets the email, say, and it basically goes, right, if you want to apply for this property, it's open, everyone gets it exactly the same time, and you've got to like be constantly making sure that, you know, you've got your eyes on your emails, that you are sort of first in this. And it's bidding wars. It really is. Now, there is a provision in the bill that tries to do this, but I think it fails. I think it very much fails to do this. Although, again, it is good that it is there. Will it succeed? I doubt it. We'll get into this now. So what is this provision that is being put in? So this comes from the Renters Reform Coalition. This is what they've said. So we in the Renters Reform Coalition, a campaign group of at least 21 different organizations, are pushing for more comprehensive reforms to private renting. We believe the most effective way to stamp out the bidding would be to simply require that the advertising rent is the maximum allowed, rather than seeking to ban soliciting of bids, which is what they are doing at the moment. They are sort of banning the soliciting of bids, which again I think is good, but I do agree, as we'll see in a moment, probably needs to go a lot further. So this, which could now, of course, result in agents now adopting a nudge and wink approach instead. Indeed, the Australian state of Victoria initially only banned solicitation of bids, and then it found that it was ineffective, and subsequently implemented a ban on all bids above asking price. So, will we see a similar situation here in the UK? Very likely. Very likely. So it would not surprise me if we were to see a renters reform bill too, potentially in the future, probably addressing this. Maybe seeking an amendment to the bill later down the line after it's been passed. Very, very likely. We could see something similar happen in the UK as well. I think it is fully likely that will happen. But we'll see. But I think this will very much be the same as well. But of course, what else is in the bill? So the big one is of course, is the abolishing of the Section 21 evictions, which basically doesn't require landlords to find any fault at all. They can just issue with one. Out you go. Normally, as a lot of renters have experienced, they've complained about something problem within their flat. All of a sudden, there's a Section 21 notice on their doormat the next day. So I think this going will be very, very good. I think this is something long, long overdue that has needed to be addressed. So it is really good to see that these Section 21 evictions are going. So that's good. The other thing, of course, we will see set deadlines for landlords to now tackle dangerous conditions in an extension to the private rented sector of Arab's Law, named after, of course, the 2-year-old who died from the toxic effects of mold in social housing. Again, I think that will be good because I think now you've gone, okay, here's a problem. There is now a legal set deadline for which landlords now have to take action. Again, gives more powers to renters. I'm very happy. I'm quite fine with that on that one. The next one is to now only allow landlords to raise rents once a year and only to quote the market rate. Again, okay, I like it. This is where I think it could be a bit stronger. I think we should bring in rent controls, and I think there's arguments as to who gets to control that. Is this a UK-wide thing? Is this a England-only thing? Do we give it to maybe regional mayors? If not, maybe do we give it to local councils? Of course, that will have its own, upsides and downsides. I think it is definitely after what essentially I think these are good reforms. I think we can see now what the next reform is, because I will agree with the Renters Reform Coalition that while these new laws and stuff that will be going sort of into this bill are good, the main thing this does not really cover for renters is rent. I think this is an issue we will see picked up maybe further and later in this parliament, looking at rent control, looking at how you control rent on this, because instantly, by the way, landlords have already threatened to raise rent on this. They've threatened to raise rent by 10%, which, yeah, I think it's time we brought in rent controls on this. That is absolutely for sure. And start maybe, I think, putting a tax on sort of big multiple households. Start putting a tax on these things, and then that can then go into social house building. Maybe this is something that the local councils can then collect off those particular landlords that then they can put into building social housing. Again, just an idea. I don't know if it will work, but again, that's just an idea completely off the top of my head. So who knows? Let me know what you think about this below, because I do think this bill is quite good. I think it's long overdue. We'll see what impact it has, and of course, what should we say further needs doing on down the line. But don't get me wrong, this is, I think, a big win for renters. It is definitely a significant step forward for them. And now we need to be thinking, okay, what's the next step? Where can we go from here? And it's very, very obvious that answer is rent. Addressing rent, I think bringing and looking at rent control. I think that's the next big thing we will definitely see. So let me know what you think down below. Like I say, remember to click on the like, share, and subscribe button. And of course, down below, as always, links to Patreon page, buy me coffee, etc. All that good stuff down below. And of course, we'll see you all next time.